I don't think people fully grasp how close our partnership is and how basically it looks like it's the same entity. And I know we get confused a lot for, are you Blue Falcon? Are you Drone Scan Pro? Who is which? Because we are that tight. Who is Drone Scan Pro? What are you guys? And how do you guys operate in our partnership?
So we handle a lot of the data acquisition. We're able to supply BFA with a large nationwide reach with the pilots that we have. We've slowly grown from just 20 something pilots to a little over 1,500 now.
You guys are the like long arm of our company and able to do the fulfillment. So we do have our own local pilots here in the Oklahoma City area, but for us to be able to take care of our clients that may be in Michigan or Iowa or California or Florida or wherever, that's when we really rely upon you guys to make sure that we're able to fulfill whatever needs our clients need, right? So we may have the really good data processing and things like that, but I know your team and what you guys do is essentially make sure that the data that is produced is able to provide the results that our clients are needing. And so that's really what this looks like, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, you guys are supplying us the clients, and we're able to go out there and capture what you guys need. And then you guys have the awesome deliverables that you guys offer. It's pretty impressive what you guys are able to do. We have a really rigorous QA process. We have one person that all his entire job is literally just QAing all the properties that come through. We do follow a pretty strict timeline on these. When we started working with you guys, we had to build up a pilot network, very large network of pilots, and we needed to figure out a way that we could successfully train all of them, because when we get a property, that 72-hour timeline starts instantly, and we were wasting maybe a day and a half trying to get this pilot trained up so he can actually do the inspection. Once the pilot comes on, they enter the school page that we have, and they're instantly trained. And then by the time when we have a property come, we can reach out and say, hey, there's a property in Dallas Fort Worth, and they're like, okay, I can go out there in an hour and get it, because they're already trained to go. And our training process, it's fairly easy. We definitely had to whip something up pretty quick when we first started growing, but right now we're actually implementing a very, very in-depth training that basically supplies you with, okay, I know exactly what this is for. I know what I need to do, this, and that, and they're able to successfully get the correct angles that we need when they're doing their flights, and especially the quality that they need as well for the shingle photos.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Quality is really a big differentiator for what we do. So, and that's a huge focus. I know you and we've been through a lot of ringers of
Yeah.
pilots who get irritated because our standards are higher than others. Right? That this is pretty common.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things like, yes, your images, the images that you're providing, the shot profiles, etc., that does work for other providers, but not for us. And just to be very clear, that's why these clients are jumping and working with us, is because our pilots, our deliverables are higher quality. So I'm not saying we're cheaper. I'm just saying that we deliver better results, which is why we are getting a lot more clients jumping on board and leaving those other companies that they may have flown for prior. And that's really where our big differentiator is. So let's talk more about Drone Scan Pro, the company. And so when did you guys get started? How do you get started? What's your origin story, right?
I was in the military for 3 years. I developed an autoimmune disorder, and I was medically retired and moved here to Dallas and started doing regular just RGB drone inspections for this company. Probably can't say their name. We didn't end on very good terms, but I was able to look at what they were doing and say I could do this a lot better. And I started Drone Scan Pro, because a lot of the connections that I made while I was at that roofing company, they were able to go out to other larger roofing companies, and I was able to leverage that network and say, hey, I'm a drone pilot, I can do this for you. And they were all about that. We actually, the day that I filed my LLC, a commercial property reached out and asked us to do inspections. We were getting a lot of smaller clients, and then we were picked up by another nationwide roofing company, and they were asking us if we can do drone inspections for them everywhere. And it was very hectic. I spent a lot of money that I didn't need to spend trying to recruit pilots, as many pilots as I could. At first it was a little rocky because we didn't have any training. We had nothing except a contract for doing multiple jobs in different states. So, and it was just me quickly building up that pilot network to about 20 or 30 guys doing it in Utah, Arizona, Nevada, a couple in Texas, like all over.
Yeah, and that's basically where I stepped in. I recognized Drone Scan Pro, and I actually did some market analysis and research on your company, and so I went through and I dove in, and I was like, dang, these guys really like have their stuff together. And it was actually funny because we have a mutual connection, and that guy was like, I want to introduce you guys. I was hesitant because I was like, man, I don't know if I really want to talk to Drone Scan Pro. Like they like I don't see how anything can really come good out of this, just being like how we're clearly the two big dogs in the room on the roofing sphere. And we had a conversation. Honestly, it went really well. I know we're both military, we're both veterans, we connected really well. And I mean, we passed business between each other, and it was like, hey, how can we help each other out, etc. And eventually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, basically I just hit you up one day and I was like, hey, I got a crazy idea. Instead of being a competition, let's just like work together and just dominate this sphere. Is that like basically what happened?
Yeah, no, pretty much, yeah. I mean, the moment that you called me and we started to plan out this huge thing, that's probably when we hit our exponential growth of like, man, we hit like maybe 500, 600 pilots within that
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, no, exactly, man. And it was one of those things to where I saw the potential on essentially doing a divide and conquer. And basically it was like, hey, let's Blue Falcon focus on providing the highest quality deliverables imaginable, and let's really just hone our focus in on that for the roofing industry. And then for Drone Scan Pro, let's have them handle all of our data acquisition and really manage the pilot network. And I know you were all about it. You love training, you love working with pilots and things like that. I'm obviously a Francis title instructor for their drone program. We have all the high-end specialized tools and softwares and all that cool stuff. And so it's just like, as long as you can deliver the high quality data, which you do, and we can generate those high quality results, which I think we do, then let's just have sort of like a marriage of two different entities and work together. And I mean, it's been working out pretty well, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's been going pretty well. I'd say the only like the biggest struggles that we had was adapting to the quality that you guys demanded.
yeah,
Because and you know, I'll just say it blatantly, not a lot of people know just the extent of what you can actually do with a Mavic 3 Pro or a Mavic 3 Enterprise, the quality you can deliver. Because I mean, I just fly. I have the Air 3, which I think is a half inch sensor. You could literally put my shingle photos side by side with one with the Enterprise, and you can count the granules on the one that the Enterprise did, and it's mostly blurry with the Air 3. And I definitely see the clients that you guys are able to get. I mean, and you're able to just look at the shingle and recognize if there's damage or not.
yeah. It's crazy, and it's funny because I know you and me, we went roundy round for a while when we first got started, because you were like, I don't understand why do I have to require this drone? It's really difficult, et cetera, to find pilots and everything else. But I mean, that's our differentiator, man. It's you have to use that right high quality drone to capture the high quality imagery. And it's a science of the technology. And that's the thing. Like, the drone itself, you have to have that really fast shutter speed in order to get that really clear details to identify whether or not it's blistering or hail or whatever else it might be. And if you don't have that very crisp detail, you won't be able to see those very minor defects so our team can analyze and provide that results. And it's frustrating because like that drone is required in order to get the details necessary so that a roofer actually has what they need to make actionable decisions. And you can either go cheap and get poor quality, or you can go good and you can get really high quality and actually actionable data. So it's one of those things. But and I know another thing as well is the zoom, right? We didn't allow
Yeah.
zooming, and that was something else. Like, you have a lot of lossless if you use zoom. And another frustrating thing is like, no, get closer, get closer. You can do it. You got to get closer. And so it's a combination of having skilled pilots with the right drones capturing the right data, and it's a very delicate balance of getting the right information so we can actually provide the highest quality. But that's
Yeah.
what we have to do in order to really meet the expectations. So when it comes to your pilot network, how many pilots do you actually have right now, and how are you able to get them out there so quick?
Yeah, so we're a little over 1,500 pilots right now. Majority of those, I'd say 1,300 of them are qualified to actually fly for BFA, and then the rest of them have different drones that are not qualifying for BFA, but we can use them for other reasons for later on down the road. When it comes to mobilizing pilots and getting people there quickly, so we have a lot of trained Top Gun pilots in a lot of the hot spots that we get properties from. And we're to the point when a property comes in for us to inspect, we're able to get out there same day because we're already trained up. We do have other options. We have a software that is able to mass text pilots in a certain area and get them to accept jobs from this state to this state. That we do have is just regular calling and texting, which that's worked just as well.
In our conversations, you do have a select few pilots who you guys rely upon first. So, and the reason why, just to be very clear to anybody watching, is because the pilots that his preferred Top Gun pilots deliver the data we need, and that's really the big thing. And so it makes sense on everyone's side if you have someone who is available and they are always delivering consistent results. We don't have extra reflights, etc. Like clearly the data, it's going to go to them. And so, and I totally agree with that. You don't want to deliver all the work equally. You want to go to the people who are actually nailing it every time and have completed the training and are actually communicating, etc. Right? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, no, and we kind of have three words that I like to express to my team every time. I say it every single day: quality, timeliness, and consistency. Those are the three things that we absolutely have to have. And I feel like, well, I know that we're hitting that mark.
You know, it's one of them things. I know we always have the expectation of perfection. And that all being said, obviously things happen and we totally understand that. It's just if we can have the data being delivered correctly on the first time. And also this is something that I was been very fascinated by. When we do the training documentation, we work with your team. We have our pilots in the field who are also collecting data and trying to craft a way to do it. And when we say we need these shots in this way, etc., correct me if I'm wrong here, but a lot of times people will make assumptions past what we're doing. And they're like, well, actually, I'm going to fly it this way because this is what they actually want. Guys, like believe it or not, this is one of the few situations where like we actually know what we're talking about. Like I know what we need for our models. I know what we need for our clients. Like I'm in those conversations with those national roofing companies, insurance companies, property management firms, etc. Like we know what they want. Just do what we're asking, because I know it's crazy to say, I don't want you on site any longer than you want to be on site. Right? Like giving volume and actually feeding those pilots and making sure that they're getting paid is also very important for us as well. Like I'm not going to intentionally give you a inefficient shot profile. Like we are also doing testing to try to make it as minimal as possible. And that's a consistent battle on our side, is minimizing the amount of scope creep and making the actual scope of work as little, as quick and efficient as possible. So I'm not going to give you extra stuff that I don't need. But when we say we need this, this, and this, like this is a requirement for the scope of work. It's not suggestions. Is that, yeah?
Yeah, no, I'm sighing here. Yeah, that's definitely something that we run into quite frequently.
Uh-huh.
I love all the pilots that we have. You know, I'm really thankful for them. I know that you have a certain way that you think that this will work. Trust me, it does not work. Please go out there and just do the shot list. That's all we
Yep.
need. If you want to show us what else you can do, do it. That's fine, but do not put it in the shot. Don't put it in the photos that you're uploading, please.
There's a method to the madness. I promise you, there is a reason why we do it the way we do it. I'm going to go on a little side conversation. I'm going to explain this to you guys real quick why we don't allow it, because this is a question we get all the time on the automated flights. Why do we not allow automated flights when it's automated? It's easy. Okay, automated flights are a way of standardizing captures for like overall mapping if you are targeting the ground. We are not targeting the ground. We are targeting the top of roofs. So you actually have to go in there and do what's called a surface to target altitude adjustment in order to get enough overlap, right? This is all science stuff and as far as like talking about photogrammetry, but like we have to have the right spacing or we don't have enough overlap so the model doesn't generate correctly. Not only that, but if you just fly it manually, it's actually quicker, it's safer, and we're able to get closer and get more details, and you can basically go around and model it. If you're actually drawing a box, that box isn't always as accurate as it should be, and you're taking a lot more photos than you need to. Like the shot profiles that we have do work, but every time I see an automated flight, it's just like, oh God, here we go again. If like there's a reason why we don't use automated flights for our roof inspections. If you think you're being sneaky and we don't know, it is incredibly obvious when we generate these models to know which ones are automated, which ones aren't. So I promise you, if you think you're getting by and trying to be sneaky, we immediately know. It is very, very, very obvious.
Yeah, no, that's very true. There's definitely guys that like to sneak that in there, but you guys catch it pretty quick. Unfortunately, that's hard for us to QA, so that it gets past us. But I get a nice phone call whenever whenever they slip one through.
That's exactly what happens. We had a situation, what it was like 2 weeks ago, where we actually was a high priority project, et cetera. We went out there and sure enough, because they did an automated flight and they didn't have enough overlap on it, the top of the roof didn't actually generate correctly, and it was a high priority critical site. And so when we went to our end client, we had to basically be like, you don't have the 3D model, but we at least have the photos, we can make it work. And so we delivered a subpar product because of that. And it's unfortunate, but again, it was because a pilot thought he knew better than us. And and it is what it is, and it's frustrating. There's a reason why we do things a certain way, but it's made for a reason, and that's really the big focus on that. Is like, there is a reason why we do it. I'm always open to opportunities, suggestions, and things like that. I'm always looking for new techniques and ways of working. We have an R&D team with our company that's actually going through and trying to find different softwares and processes. We are extremely innovative, and I'm a huge, you know this, Meyer, I'm a good idea fairy, right? Like, I have an idea and it's like, hey, hear me out. Let's do something crazy. I love ideas, right? Just there's a way to get ideas implemented, but just doing it on active projects is not the right way, right? So yeah, so when it comes to scaling, right, obviously you and I, we've had some growing pains, right? What has been like the hardest part when it comes to the scaling side?
Okay, yeah. So one of the bigger issues that we have is, let's take California, for example. We have, I don't know, 50, 100 pilots there. But that's the thing, is there's 50 to 100 pilots there, and I want someone in Sholo, Arizona. Finding those little pockets of areas that get hail damage, but we don't have anybody out there, has been the biggest challenge for us. We want to be able to provide BFA with, nationwide coverage, and it's definitely harder to find, like, let's just say thermal pilots, for example. It's hard to find those pockets, and especially get thermal guys. So getting our reach has definitely been a big priority for us, for sure. Posting on Facebook, doing videos like this, trying to do all sorts of stuff.
I know when it comes to the densification of the pilot network, right, and making sure it's dense, it's strange that we are really trying to find those little niches, those little hole in the walls. So if you're in Oklahoma City or Dallas, etc., we already have a lot of pilots there. But if you're like in, Big Spring, Texas, right? I know we had some properties out there a couple days ago, I believe, out there, or Montana, that's a huge like hole for us right now. Those are the places, if you're in those areas, like seriously, I mean, we actually do have substantial amount of work because there is a lot of hail that does happen out there. We're all about, if you are in Dallas and you want to work with us, awesome. Right? But just know there's also 50 other pilots in Dallas as well who are also trying to work there. So you may have to either, fight for that or potentially even travel to get any actual work that would be sustainable, right? And that's really some of the big stuff there. I know for us, as far as the scaling side, my background, I'm military, obviously, and I actually used to manage the customs operation for Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and Kuwait. So because of that, we actually do have quite a bit of experience, and I personally have a lot of experience on the scaling side. The thing I like to tell people is I know what it's supposed to look like because I've done large organizations, but actually building it from scratch is different. It's like whenever I walked into my office on my change of command, like I was given a playbook and they said, here you go. This is your operations, here are the people to call, etc. So in this process, it's one of those things that you have to basically build and adjust, and you have to continuously adapt it to really get to that sort of spot of sustainability. And it's always a challenge. And I like to, we have a mantra, it's generate a contract, worry about fulfillment later, right? Don't worry about how to do it. Just go out there, get those clients, make them happy. And then once you have that contract in hand, then you say, okay, how are we going to do this crazy thing I just said we would do? Right. And that's when I'm going to call people like Meyer and say, hey, guys, I just did something. What is this going to look like? And then he and I basically work together on trying to fulfill something that is, that's what we do, though. But it's crazy. But we have a professional, well-ran organization. We have all the cadences, the training schedules, and all the meetings and cadences, etc. But like, it still operates a lot of times like the Wild West of just like, hey, let's just figure it out as we go, right? And so a lot of growing pains, etc. It's been fun, man. It's been a lot of fun. I'm really excited to be working with you for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, no, me too. It's been great. Yeah, I want to go back and touch on like the larger cities where we have a dense network of pilots. Just because it's a large network of pilots doesn't mean that you can't get work. It really just kind of comes down to your attitude and if you're willing to accept our critiques and make sure that you're able to perform at a higher level than you're already at. And if you're able to do that and stay in contact with us, we're going to send jobs to people that we know can do it and we know will actually respond to us. So
Yeah.
you might out of 50 people, you might be the only one that's in our school page constantly talking with us or asking us questions or doing the training, submitting documents. And that's what it's going to come down to in the future is when we have our software up and running, able to dispatch pilots very quickly. The Top Gun pilots, the ones that we initially have started with, are going to always get the first come first serve because they were able to prove that they can actually do it. And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong here, but in a year we're gonna have a lot more properties coming in, I would think. So
Yeah, no, I think that's very fair. Mostly we're working on the commercial side for apartment complex and things like that, but very soon we're going to start working with individual residences of like smaller properties, and that's when things are going to get a lot more. So there may only be when a hailstorm comes through, there may only be 5 or so apartment complexes that are impacted by a large storm, but there may have been 10,000 houses that were impacted. And so we really haven't had much of success on our residential side comparatively to our commercial, but that is rapidly changing. And I know there's a lot of things coming down the pipe. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but one pilot in Dallas may be able to handle 5 apartment complexes, but they probably can't handle 1,000 residential properties. Yep.
yeah, and that's where our software comes in. Is it's going to help us immensely when we have 10,000 properties come in. We can easily just be shooting out messages to all the pilots, and then we can have 10 pilots in the area just getting messages, constantly. Like, hey, there's another house over here. Okay, I'll accept it. Another house over here.
Yep.
That's where that's going to come in very, very handily in the future.
The best way of describing it is the intention for our side is that the volume should be so large that it's almost like an Uber, basically, to where it's like you just log on the app and you can see what's in the area. And that's ultimately what the end state should look like eventually once we start to really get things off the ground. And it's in a lull period right now. We're still trying to get our feet wet on a lot of these other potential opportunities, but this is the time to really scale our systems, test things out, redefine things, and figure things out, and then let things really accelerate. But yeah, I'm really excited for the future on that aspect of it, and things can really get really wild, of course, if it's successful, which I don't have any reason to believe it won't be, but hey, who knows, right? So you guys are handling the quality control, and for people who are watching, what that process looks like is you guys get dispatched by us. We have an automated system that sends to you guys. You then will find the pilot, you do the data capture, you bring it back in, and then you do a quality control before getting it to us, right? And the quality control is a ton of data. How do you guys handle that much data coming through and all of the different QA? Like, what does that process look like?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for us is having pilots we can trust that won't fail a QA. When we have those Top Gun pilots, it's a lot easier for us to Q&A because it really comes down to did they get the photo count? And that's our biggest deal is making sure it matches the photo count and then going through and just clicking on a couple photos just to make sure that okay, this is in frame, doing it on every building that they upload. We have our QA team that's able to look through photos, making sure that they have the right count and that they have the right quality.
Yeah, so when it comes to the quality control, you guys have your QA process where you go through and you actually verify everything looks good. And then we have a QC side where we verify. The first thing we do is we go back and double check and just make sure that everything that DroneScan Pro is doing is also matching. So there's actually two different levels of QC. And then after our final deliverables are generated, there's actually a final QC before it gets delivered to client. So your photos and everything that goes into it is actually checked 3 different times by 3 different people every single time. The person who's doing the data processing on our side is not the same person who's reviewing it on DroneScan Pro's time, and the final QC is also not the same person doing the other thing. So there's actually 3 different sets of eyes on every single project before it goes through, and that's once again one of our differentiators why we are so successful on delivering those high quality results. And that's really been a big thing for us is everything is about quality and consistency and making sure we always nail it every time. And it's going above and beyond and building out custom stuff, etc. You guys see our shop profiles change quite a bit. Well, the reason why we do that is because we're having conversations at least weekly with the teams of our clients, and we're talking with them and say, okay, how are things going? What does it look like? How can we further improve this and make it to where it better matches what you're looking for? And it's also a big thing as well. We'll micro the different things. We're going to say, hey, those photos, are they useful or is it just waste? Oh, they're just waste. Okay, get rid of it. And I'll tell Meyer, kill it. We don't need that anymore, right? I've done that how many times? Like, seriously.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, seriously. Like, we literally, I'm always trying to remove photos. I come from the telecom side, and so I'm used to the excessive amount of scope creep, right? And going from you go out to a tower, it may only take you 30 minutes, to now I've friends still in the telecom industry. I mean, a lot of these towers now went from 30 minutes, now like the average is like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, I know what that looks like. And as you can probably imagine, pay's not increasing much with it, right? So that's what I'm consistently fighting against is how do you remove as much of this scope creep as possible and keep these shop profiles down as low as possible. That's really our focus. Just so you guys are aware, every single time there is a QC fail, which means Meyer's team with DroneScan Pro missed it, and it goes to us. If my team finds a error, I get personally notified. It is an automatic thing. I get an email that says, hey, we got an issue, and I call an immediate meeting with my director of operations, and we have a chat, and we're like, all right, what happened? And I call Meyer, and he may get a call at 8 in the morning and say, hey, dude, what happened here? And he has to answer to it. And, it's one of them things. And it's serious. And it doesn't look good if we have to have pilots go back out and revisit properties because we have to communicate to our end client why they are potentially damaging relationships with their property management firms, right? And so it's a process, and it's a big deal, and so it's really important to hit it the first time every time. So, and that's really the big focus on that.
And that's actually the good topic that you brought up because that's why we implemented the training so where they could get it the same day that the property hits or the next day. So in case there is a QA fail, we still are within that 72 hours and we can go back out there and redo whatever was missed. That's the thing about being, a business owner is it's always your fault. So, a QA fail, they catch it, I don't know. I gotta make sure, see what happened as well.
Meyer and I are both military, right? So we have different ways of dealing with things that are a little bit different than civilian sides. We have tough conversations, and we work together. Actually, one of my partners is actually working with your team to actually better help improve the training and things like that. So that's something else we're doing. So we're all here to basically try to provide as high of quality to our in-state clients and consistently try to improve and make this thing better. And we're just trying to do something that instead of going, be the cheapest guy out there, we're going the opposite way. Let's be the guys who have such a high quality and such difference in quality that we're able to justify higher pricing. And that's really what our mantra is. That's our goal, and that's really where we have found a very clear niche here is let's be the best. And because of that, we have all these extra, quality assurance and QC and very strict drone requirements, everything else. And that's really what we do. So yeah, something else I want to talk about as well is we are not your only client, correct? Yeah. So you have other clients, and this is so. Yeah. We are specifically talking about the requirements that we have, but Drone Scan Pro, you guys have other partnerships and things like that you're working, right?
Oh yeah, no, we work with multiple nationwide roofing companies as well. So our requirements, we do require a 1-inch sensor. I personally think that is probably going to be our standard, and then anything above 1 inch is going to be preferred more than just the 1 inch. We still work pretty heavily with multiple clients. We're still getting more coming in, a lot of smaller ones out of Dallas and a couple other states as well.
So even if you don't have a Mavic 3 series of drones, like you can still work with Meyer's team. I mean, there are still other opportunities. I'll just be very blunt. It won't be with us, right? It won't be our projects, but you're welcome to obviously work with Drone Scan Pro and definitely sign up for them, etc. And we are out here trying to also help him be successful in his own venture and any way we can. And that's why obviously he's on the channel, is to hopefully encourage some of you guys to jump on board and say, hey, yeah, this all makes sense. I want to be a part of something really cool. Go into Drone Scan Pro and check that out. So where do you think that we're heading as far as like our partnership between Drone Scan Pro, Blue Falcon? Where do you think this is going in the future?
Ever since we started working together, it's been nothing but forward progress. Obviously we hit our lull periods where just some clients are not sending anything, and that's just the reality of drone work. I really envision at this point multiple high-end clients sending us a lot of work. I see us becoming more of a drone giant that can compete. Well, we already are competing, but that can heavily compete against the other giants, and I think that's going to be happening pretty quickly. I really think so.
I like what you said. I don't know where we're heading, but we're moving forward. I like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's really funny. And I think a very big aspect of any business owner is having the ability to pivot and make adjustments, right? Mm-hmm. Trust me, the business model, what you're doing, etc., whatever you think you're going to do in 5 years is probably not true. Just accept that, right? When you build a business and you have a plan, that plan is going to fail. Yeah. It's what do you do after that, and how do you make those adjustments, I think is really key. And I actually had one of my good friends, he actually became an investor in our company, and simply because he said, I don't know what you're going to do, but I've seen you respond to things, and I want to be along for the ride. And that's basically what he said, is just like, I think that's what you are. And that's, I think, the key to any successful business owner, is having the ability to adapt to a changing market. And I like to also talk about the adoption curve, right? Where you have the adoption curve on the graph, where you have the early adopters, the early majority, the late majority, and then the laggards, right? And how that process looks like as far as where you're at in your adoption curve. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter where you're at on the adoption curve. There are opportunities in every single spot, right? I am a huge believer that in the roofing industry specifically, we're probably still on the innovators or the early adopters phase for like really good quality drones. But drones are very clearly already used in the sphere on the other side. Now, the other side though, like real estate photography, it is definitely a laggard, right? We are at that stage where every realtor has a drone or knows a drone guy, right? However, there are still opportunities, but you have to be more creative on how you do that. And if you want to look at it in this capacity, like let's talk about insurance, right? Insurance is one of the most oldest sort of like established profession that exists, but there are still very big insurance companies and lots of opportunities in the insurance world, right? Like you can't just say, oh, I can't do insurance, there's too many of them. Clearly, there's still opportunities because people are still making money on it. But you have to change your mindset. You're not going to go out to someone, and legitimately, this is a conversation I have quite a bit with people, is like, hey, let me explain to you about how roofing and drones work together. right? Like seriously, let me show you all this cool stuff, right? Like those are things I have to do because we are in an innovator sort of market. However, I don't think I'd have to go to a guy if I was an insurance agent and say, all right, hey Meyer, let me tell you about this crazy idea I have. It's called insurance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I already know about that, right? But you're still opportunities. And so like you have to basically frame your thinking differently. But yeah, I'm going on a ramble, but I think it's really, really important just people to understand that like things are going to change. And your reaction to those situations is really what's going to make you successful or not.
Yeah.
And I think that's really it.
If I could add into that, just looking at Ukraine and Russia, I mean, just the state of how the drones have turned the tide, and I really think that when it comes down to it, in 5 years or just in 12 months, companies are realizing that drones are more useful, and they're going to start looking for a drone person. And if you're not at the front of if you're not in front of them going, I'm a drone person, I know how to fly drones, we have this much, we can do this, you're going to get bypassed. They're not going to look at you, and that's especially why we are hitting marketing so much, because we want those companies, when they do look at drones and consider it, to go, oh, Blue Falcon Aerial has drones. Let's go and talk to them and see what they can do. In 5 years, I don't know. I mean, if you guys have seen drone delivery, they're about to be able to deliver 5 pounds, and I mean that's food. Like we can have drones deliver us food. When it comes down to roof inspections, I think there's going to be some sticklers, but I think in general it's going to be a standard practice that you will have. Like it's standard practice that you get a roof Xactimate, just like you go and get it inspected with a drone. That's really how I see it, and I think we just need to keep moving forward to the point where when they look for that drone pilot, they see BFA or Drone Scan Pro, either or. Yeah, and we both work together. But that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. I mean, you're absolutely correct. I think there is a lot of opportunities in this industry. Being that first person they call and in the mind of that person is really important. I'm a marketing major myself. That's what I came from as far as like on the formalized education, and having that awareness and the number of touches and all the different like things like that. You have to be out there in front of people a lot. If you think you're there too much, you probably need to double it. All right, like it's insane how often you have to be out there. Let's actually talk about that a little more. So when it comes to the drone industry and creating a business, right? And obviously, I would imagine if you were a drone pilot, you're probably looking at us and being like, wow, that's really cool what they're doing. I want to do something similar, right? So like, what would be some tips for them, advice for someone who is wanting to get their drone business really moving?
So I'd say learn your industry and figure out what is the requirements for that industry. Another thing that I recommend all pilots do is start signing up for all of these other drone companies that are sending out work, like Beast 360, Ziteview, Droners.io, my company, Drone Scan Pro. There's a lot of other smaller drone service providers out there that you can get signed up for. And that's really, doing that is going to densify your network of other drone pilots and the owners of those companies. Like with those smaller drone service providers, it is very easy to meet those higher top level people because it's still a smaller organization, and that's where you can really start making your connections and keep growing your business. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
I agree with that for sure. I especially like learning your industry. I think that's something very important and something that I didn't do enough at. When we first got started, we started in the LiDAR sphere working with surveyors. We did market research. We thought we knew what we were doing. We didn't do enough, and we did not do enough interviews, enough education. I didn't know enough about it, and it basically became a trial by fire, right? And it was a lot, but we recognized how little we knew, and we heavily invested in learning everything about surveying and all of that. And like now I teach a applications of surveying for the drone industry class at Francis Tuttle. I do a 5-week class on that, and I can sit up there and talk surveying for 5 weeks straight, guys. Like, that's quite a bit of information. And if you don't have that level of understanding of the industry you're working with, you don't have enough of a value proposition for those clients. And we did the same thing for roofing. Like, now our company, we now brought on a Master Hague certified inspector. There's only 22 of those in the entire country, and he now is our chief solutions officer for our team. He's doing the training, the education. We wanted to build out a thermal program, and so thermal and solar program. And so what did I do? I reached out and I got Chris Galantine. I brought him on board. He's one of the top guys in the industry when it comes to solar operations and things like that. And I've done interviews with him, and he's incredibly intelligent, right? Obviously, Meyer, I mean, he hasn't mentioned it, but like, he freaking, like, dude, you're doing drone delivery and stuff. Like, you're building
Yeah.
out a drone delivery program. Like, that's so freaking cool, right? It's really big about understanding your target market. And I know that you said to like work with like other drone pilots and stuff. I would challenge that idea.
Mhm.
Instead of connecting with drone pilots, connect more with your target demographic. What I
Mhm.
mean by that
Yeah.
is what I do, just understand, I don't go to drone conferences. You will not find me at a drone conference. I don't think I've ever been to one. But you will find me at every single roofing conference that exists. IRE, Weather the Storm, you have, I can't remember the other ones, but there's so many other ones I go to. Every single roofing conference I go to. Why? Because why would I go to a networking group for drone pilots when instead I can go to a networking group of all of my potential clients? And a lot of my main clients I've worked with, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I honestly, almost all of our major partnerships, I either met them at those conferences or I was able to meet with them at those conferences after our initial lead generation and go out there and, have a beer and hang out and go,
Mhm.
go hanging out, just talking with them. And when you have the opportunity to sit with them and explain to them that, yes, not only do I know the drone side, I understand the applications on how it works in your industry, and I can have not a not a topical understanding where you have to educate me. I can basically have a peer-to-peer conversation of them saying, "Hey, I want a rapid storm assessment for hail detection, and these are the parameters." Cool, let's do it. Right? Like, they don't have to dictate to me and train me. I already understand that. And I think that is a huge issue a lot of drone pilots make, is they get so caught up with working with the drone pilots. No, screw that. Go find people you want to work with. And my last thing on here, sorry, I know this gets me really fired up, right? Because I see this all the time.
Yeah.
I talk to drone pilots, and I'm like, "What do you do?" They're like, "Oh, I do everything." I'm like, "Great. You don't know anything. You literally are you have no demographic. You don't have any education with any of your target demographic, because you're telling me that you are an expert in oil and gas and telecommunications and windmills and mapping and construction site management, and engineers and construction and all these different, roofing, etc. Like, if you're telling me that you do everything, do you actually understand each of those applications you're working in?" The answer
Yeah.
is an emphatic no. Okay. Like, it took me a good solid year and a half now to where I am legitimately able to have a peer to peer conversation regarding roofing. And this has been my life for the last year and a half. And the last 2 years prior to that was surveying. So those are the two industries that I can legitimately walk to any surveyor or go to any roofer and I can have a peer to peer. And I talk to these guys and they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to work in oil and gas." Are you okay? Good luck to you. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
hope that makes sense. But that's my soapbox. But I think it's a really important thing, and I really like we sort of like went off in a whole different direction with this. But I think it's
Mhm.
very useful.
I've been roofing for 3 years now, something like
Mm-hmm.
that, 3.5 years. And, part of being a good leader is when you don't know, you don't know.
Yep.
I've had people approach me to do construction progression, and I'm like, look, man, I only know roofing, but I have people that know construction progression, and I
Yep.
can connect you with them. And I do, like I personally want to expand our services for sure, but when we expand, I want it to be we're expanding and here's the leader of this expansion. This
Yep.
guy knows what he's talking about. He's going to expand that area. I'm great at roofing stuff. Another thing too that I would add in for advice for newer drone pilots is not, being a drone pilot isn't good enough. You have to have deliverables that are other than just photos. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, like Chris, you guys are probably the king of deliverables, I guess. You're giving out all sorts of stuff, and I think that's pretty valuable for drone pilots to be able to offer. Because if I go to a roofer right now and just say, hey, I can give you photos of our roof, or hey, I can give you an exactimate We could do AI analysis, this and this. Packing more deliverables into your pricing is going to be a big deal. Being able to justify your price.
Alex Hermosi, he has the value equation, right? And it's talking about how do you add more value to your offer. And one of those things on there is a perceived likelihood of achievement, right? And what that looks like is someone's going to look at you and say, how likely are they to do what I want them to do? That's part of the equation, is how likely is that person to give you a successful result. And it goes back to having those conversations, be able to have those peer-to-peer conversations. And if you're someone who is just the drone guy that does literally everything, but you don't have any idea of what that industry looks like you're not going to be able to have that perception of achievement. I'm not going to say you're not going to win the contract, but I'm saying that they're going to be very hesitant because you may know drones, but you don't know what I'm looking for, right? And that's a big part of it. If you haven't looked at that value equation with Alex Ramosi, I think it's a phenomenal tool. We do a value equation comparison quite often in our company just to see how do we make our deliverables better. And the other thing I want to mention as well when it comes to deliverables is actually don't go to someone with a product. Okay, this is a huge thing. Ask them, what do you want? Don't tell me the end state deliverable you want from me. Don't say you want a map. I want to know, why do you want the map? Why are you going to use it? How do you use it? Who's going to use it? Why do they need it? Okay, and then let's see if there's actually something whole different and better that we can do and actually produce something different. Because they probably went on YouTube, searched up something, drone stuff, and or ChatGPT was like, hey, do a map. They're like, okay, cool, right? But if you're an expert in the industry, you can actually do what they actually need and make it as convenient as possible for them. And we do a little bit of insight into our operations. We actually give whole custom dashboards for each one of clients that has all of their stuff built out, and we deliver it into their systems. So if they use AccuLinks or Company Cam or OneDrive or whatever, we actually integrate all of our systems in with theirs, and so it's totally seamless, and we will actually work with their internal systems. So the best thing I can tell you as a drone pilot is go out there and have those conversations and figure out what can you do to help them get to what their end state looks like. And it may not be what they think it is. You need to have the knowledge of their industry and your industry of knowing what's possible to really get them what they're looking for. Funny story, the reason why I got into roofing was because I had a roofer reach out to me asking me if I can do LiDAR on a roof. Okay? All right. Yes, but that's stupid. Let me tell you 3,000 reasons why. And I did. And he was like, man, that's really cool. You can do that without using LiDAR. And that is literally how we got started in roofing, was I recognized how completely out of touch the roofing industry was. And that's why we switched from LiDAR into roofing. So, true story. Cool.
Yeah, no, they're out of touch.
Roofers are very stubborn, and a lot of roofers are very cheap. You got to find the right ones. They're very resistant to change, and they're very stuck in their ways. I think that's very true to say, which means that Meyer and I know there's a lot of opportunity in this industry, and so we just have to basically be that change and have all their competitors doing it first, so they then come back to us. Yep, we're more efficient, we're safer, and we can, and realistically, it's probably cheaper. At least we're giving a lot higher quality for their end state clients, which is ultimately going to dictate them to change their ways. So Meyer, all right, what drives you to do this big, right? And why are you going nationwide? Why are you trying to build this huge thing? Like, what drives you personally?
There's a lot of factors that go into it. One, I'm kind of tired of getting the shaft from a lot of my employers. It's really scary when you're kind of in the fate of their hands, if you can get fired tomorrow. And it's scary. It's a scary thought, especially when you're a father and have a family that you're taking care of. So I initially started this because I saw this as a potential for me, if I get fired from my job, to just take over and do this and be able to make enough to get by until I find another job. But it turned into a nationwide operation very quickly, and I was not expecting that at first. But my main goal here is, I see this company, it's only going to go up. Like, statistically speaking, there's only forward progress to be made at this point. We have the network of pilots. We have great relationships with our clients, and as the drone world builds, we will continuously be getting more clients. What motivates me and what sets me apart from others is how I want to treat our pilots and how I treat our network. We provide a weekly course. It could be it's different every week. We try and get professionals out here to teach courses on sales, business, drone efficiency. I like to offer that to everyone because it not only helps improve our operations, but it improves their operations. Yeah, what we're doing, we want to build up a network of pilots because we don't. Not only do we want to be successful, but we want to make them successful as well. And we are able to provide them with the knowledge and know-how through our courses to help them grow that business. A lot of pilots reach out to me because they're starting their own business, and they ask me, "Oh, what do I need to do first?" And we're able to guide them, and it's not like those other companies where it's just like, "Okay, whatever, I don't need you." We try and involve all of our pilots, and we try and communicate with them as much as we can and answer questions and keep people updated on changes that we're having. We like to update on our school page quite a bit of like recent work, what might be coming down the pipeline soon. Like, and we've offered a lot of classes like thermal, intro to business, and like Chris, you've taught quite a few classes for us as well.
I did marketing and also a photogrammetry class, and I really like that though because I know the school page that you guys have, it's built in a way to where like it's actually a community that people can talk to each other and network, and they post random stuff. I love it. Honestly, I do. It's almost like a Facebook group, but like for a community of pilots that are also getting contracts through DroneScan Pro. And I think that's really neat. And it's cool. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but like it's like you guys are not just a drone service provider that's giving contracts out. You're actually helping pilots be successful in whatever they're doing, even if it isn't with your company, but just basically giving them skills and helping build them up. Is that basically true?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, we really do care about our pilots. We have great relationships with them. If they want to talk to us, we talk back. I get multiple phone calls every day from other pilots just checking in, so how everything's going, asking me questions.
No, that's great. Obviously, there are growing pains, right? Clearly, I like to say that you and I, we grew too fast, and we're trying to keep
Yes.
up, right? And
Yeah.
that's something
Yeah.
that obviously we make a lot of mistakes. We recognize mistakes. I think really our collaborative businesses have really accelerated. What last probably 3 or 4 months now? Like yeah, like seriously, this real acceleration, I would say probably since about February or March. And since then it's really been accelerating. But like obviously we make mistakes, obviously communication issues. Yes, training is getting better. I mean, we're working on it. I know Michael is currently working with your team to help build the training programs out, etc. Collectively though, I think one thing is very sure though is this is not a organization, partnership, etc. to sleep on. And I think that if I was a larger company, I'd be, taking notice of us and saying, hey, yeah, these guys may be new, but man, they're doing some really cool stuff, and we're making a big impact, and we're definitely outshooting our coverage. And I think we're definitely here to stay, and we have a lot of really, really, really big plans in the future, and I'm excited for it. If this is something that a pilot was like, hey, yeah, this is cool. I want to be a part of this network. I want to start working with you. I want to be involved in these trainings. I want to be a part of the community. Like I want to see more of what this looks like. And hey, outside of all of that, also get work assigned to me and make some money as well, right? Which is pretty cool. Number one, there's no cost, right, to join your pilot network. Totally free.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no cost. You don't charge pilots. There's none of that craziness. It's just simply a join the community. You get involved. You get work. You go to all the classes. The classes are free as well, right?
Yep.
I think I know the answer. I just want to verify, right? Everything's free. It's just one of those things to where it's just something that they can just jump onto and start getting sped up. So what would that process look like if you wanted to get started?
I would just go onto our website. There's a new pilot form application that all the pilots fill out. That's just some data, so we're able to track our coverage better. Sign up. We'll send you an invite to the school page. Once you're in there, start talking. You can shoot me a message. Say, hey, I just joined. Try and respond as quickly as possible. And then, if you want, it's totally up to you. But like our classes are free. Everything is free. We're not going to charge you on anything. All of the courses that we have done are recorded, and you can go back and watch all of them completely free. You know, we're just here to help you guys out as well. And then do the training whenever you can. If you don't have a qualifying drone, that's fine. Just still you can still do the training. So that way, whenever you do, we can just put you in, you know, because you already did, you know what you're doing, and just be by your phone. Just be ready to take a call. I mean, a lot of the guys that are active on here weren't by their phone, and then they got back to us like an hour later, and we're like, yeah, sorry, man, that the property was assigned out, but we'll make sure to keep you up to date next time.
I know specifically for our operations, if we are responding to storm events, so you already know if there is storms in your area over the next couple days, you probably should just be expecting those conversations to happen. So if
Yeah.
you have any sort of major hailstorms in your area, hits any sort of metropolitan areas or things that have some population centers, just expect that there will be something out there, and it may not be a bad idea just to be on standby and ready. And I mean, it would be appropriate to maybe message the chat and say, hey, are we expecting anything for these areas, etc. But definitely get involved in the community. I know it's great. We try to stop in there and say hi as well. And Meyer and I are as open as we can be. So awesome, guys. Well, Meyer, thank you so much for joining, man. Any last closing remarks or anything else?
No, just appreciate you having me out here. If you guys are interested, sign up, message me, whatever you want to do.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that link will be in the description of this video. Yeah, thank you so much, Meyer, and I'm sure we'll do this again. See you, buddy.
See ya.
Yeah, cool. Not bad.